Coming up, just what does it take to become a U.S. president? We'll take a look. Then Fingerprints explained.
I would like to know why all our fingerprints are all different.
We'll answer that question and more. Plus, paw submission. This high school robotics team is helping one disabled pup get around. They built her a wheelchair.
Rue is a very small dog, and they don't make wheelchairs for dogs of that size, so we needed to step in.
Plus, polar plunge. Everything you want to know about polar bears. And snow day. Grab your sled. We're going for a ride.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. I'm Lester Holt. It is great to be with you on a Saturday morning. We've got an awesome lineup ahead, from kids lending a helping hand to actress Jamie Lee Curtis. The star has a new children's book out, and it's all about patience. So you got to wait for it, okay? But first, let's begin with one of the stories making headlines this week. You may have heard the word primary in the news lately. Well, that's because the 2024 presidential election season is officially underway. Did you ever wonder what it takes to become the president of the United States? Well, guess what? America has a really interesting way of electing a U.S. president, and it dates way back to our nation's founding fathers. Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, just a few of more than 40 who have served as president of the United States. To date, no woman has held the office.
Hi, my name is Harlow, and my question is, who can run for president? Hi, my name is Hunter, and my question is, how can I run for president of the United States?
Those are great questions. The U.S. Constitution, which is the law for the country, lists only a couple requirements to run for president.
Unfortunately, a 10-year-old cannot run for president. According to the Constitution, you have to be at least 35 years old to serve as president and also be native born, which generally means born inside this country.
The president's responsibilities include things like signing bills into law, although the president doesn't make the laws. That's up to Congress. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. But if you look at the Constitution, there's not much of a job description.
The Constitution, interestingly, is not very specific about what a president should do, and there was a reason for that. The people who wrote our Constitution in 1787 knew that the first president of the United States would be General George Washington. And these founders thought so much of Washington that they thought, why not let him define what a president does by his example?
Today, the president is limited to 2 4-year terms in office. But a lot has to happen before a U.S. president is elected. There are 2 major political parties in the U.S., the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Usually, those with similar ideas are a part of the same party.
America has a really interesting system of choosing a Republican nominee or a Democratic nominee. And it's through this amazing apparatus of caucuses in some states, primary elections in others, state conventions in others.
Did you know that people vote for candidates in the primaries and caucuses to be the party nominee for president? But they are really selecting delegates for the party conventions, which take place over the summer. States and political parties use different methods for deciding how many delegates they will award to each candidate. To become a presidential nominee, a candidate typically has to win a majority of the delegates. At the party conventions, the nominee is officially declared. And then, every 4 years in November, Americans 18 and older can vote for the candidate they want for president. But the candidate with the most votes doesn't necessarily win.
There's a system that our founders gave us where those votes go into an electoral college. Each state gets a few electors, and the person who gets the most electoral votes is the person who becomes president. That may not be the same person as the person who got the most popular votes.
We know this can sound a bit confusing, but it's all a part of our republic, a government by the people. All right, now for What's on Your Mind. This week, one young viewer is wondering about something every one of us is born with, but no two are alike: fingerprints. Let's get details now from our pal, Dr. John Torress.
Hello, my name is Bronson. I'm almost 8 years old. I would like to know why all our fingerprints are all different.
You know, that's a fantastic question, and it turns out everyone's fingerprints around the world are completely different. As a matter of fact, your fingerprints from one hand are different than your fingerprints on your other hand, and here's why. Fingerprints develop before we're born, while we are growing inside our mother's womb, and they come about because of genetics. The genes we get from our parents, they got from their parents, and that are then passed down to us. Along with genetics, fingerprints also get their unique pattern from the environment and hormones inside a mother's womb, and can even change from pressing against your own body while you're developing and growing before you're born. There are 3 main types of fingerprint patterns: loops, whorls, and arches, along with a few other variations. So why do we even have fingerprints in the first place? Well, the truth is, scientists still really don't know. We used to think it was to help us get a grip on things so they don't drop. But after a lot of research, it turns out that fingerprints are too small to help us hold on to anything. Now, the leading theory is that fingerprints might help us with sensitivity, so we can tell the difference between things just by touch. What we do know is that everyone's fingerprint is completely unique to them, even identical twins. That's why we can use fingerprints to open a cell phone or computer, and why police use fingerprints to identify people and even solve crimes. And if you want to look at your own fingerprint patterns, you can do so at home. You know, fingerprints are so small, you're going to need help looking at them. And there's a couple things you can do. One, you can grab a magnifying glass and look at your own finger and see the fingerprint there. But that's a little hard because it's the same color as your skin, because it is part of your skin. And so it's a bit hard to differentiate. So the other thing you can do is take your own fingerprint at home. You'll just need an oil pastel crayon, a piece of paper, and a magnifying glass or a camera phone. The other thing I like to do is, this is a simple oil pastel crayon, and I take this and I'm just going to mark my finger right here. And so I'm just going to put a bunch of this pastel paint on my finger and just keep marking it. And then what I'm going to do is take this piece of paper, press against it really hard, leave it there for a couple seconds, and boom, there's my fingerprint. It might be a little hard to see, but my fingerprint's right there. And then I can take a magnifying glass and look at my fingerprint. It's still not as big as I'd like it to be. So the other thing you can do is you can borrow your parents' phone. It has a camera on it. Take a picture of that fingerprint. And when you zoom in on that fingerprint, you can study your own one-of-a-kind pattern and compare it to your family and friends.
All right, Dr. John, I'm looking at my fingertips as we speak. All right, thanks so much for that great explanation. Meantime, here in North America, many animals, including some bears, hibernate during the long, cold winter. But there is one bear species that actually thrives in the cold, the polar bear. Our friend Erin McLaughlin takes a look at these impressive mammals.
They are giants, living on the ice-covered waters of the Arctic. Polar bears are among the world's most magnificent creatures, massive in size and able to survive in super cold temperatures in places like Canada and Alaska.
Polar bears are just the most awesome animal. Polar bears are one of the largest carnivores. They're bigger than tigers, they're bigger than lions. They are the largest terrestrial carnivore, and so they're really impressive.
Tim Sullivan works at the Brookfield Zoo near Chicago, home to Hudson, a male polar bear.
Hudson loves to play here at the zoo. We provide him with lots of environmental enrichment to keep him busy.
Male polar bears like Hudson can weigh up to 1,500 pounds and grow to about 10 feet when they stand on their rear legs.
So imagine you're standing by a basketball hoop. Our male polar bear can reach that rim just by standing on his rear legs.
Female polar bears are about half the size of male bears, weighing up to 800 pounds. And you know that white fur? Guess what? It's not really white.
It's actually clear. They have a very thick coat, 2 different layers. That undercoat, which is very thick and dense, and then there are guard hairs that are longer, that are actually hollow, and that helps protect them. And that's what keeps them warm when they're walking around in the ice.
Polar bears are also excellent swimmers. They're considered marine mammals because they spend a big part of their lives in the water.
When they're on the land, they have this kind of big lumbering gait. They look massive and kind of powerful, but when you see them in the water, they are super graceful, and they kind of swim like a dog. They just kind of do the dog paddle. The rear legs hang behind and act like a rudder as they swim through the water, and they can swim for hours upon hours, even days, to get from one ice floe to the next.
Polar bears mainly eat meat, and they hunt for prey on sea ice. But because of climate change, that ice is starting to melt.
When it gets warm, because of climate change, it's harder on the bears, and so they have a harder time finding their food and living.
There are some things, though, that we all can do to help.
Just turning down their thermostat 1 degree, even if it's only at night, that's going to help polar bears. Instead of driving your car to someplace close, walk or ride a bike. Those types of things will really help both save money for you and your family, but also it'll help polar bears by reducing the things that affect our climate and make it harder on polar bears.
Small steps to help protect these big, awesome bears.
Aaron, thanks very much for that. Time now for our pop quiz. The question, which winter sport evolved from skateboarding and surfing? Is it A, cross-country skiing, B, snow polo, or C, snowboarding? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is C, snowboarding. Snowboarding was developed here in the United States decades ago. Did you know a father from Michigan is credited with inventing one of the first snowboards back in the 1960s? That's right, Sherman Poppin built a toy for his daughters by fastening 2 skis together and attached a rope to one end so he would have some control as they stood and glided down the hill. His wife called it the Snurfer, and it became the first mass-produced snowboard and gave Muskegon, Michigan, the bragging rights, by the way. That's the birthplace of the snowboard. Well, straight ahead, one disabled pup and a group of students who came together to help. We're in Louisiana with this heartwarming story. And just one more sleep, a new book with an important message for kids. And best first game ever, how one 8-year-old with a homemade sign got a chance to see Taylor Swift.
It was like amazing.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. Hope you're having a terrific Saturday. In this week's Inspiring Kids series, we introduce you to some students who are using their love of science to help one furry friend get around. Let's get details from our friend Ellison Barber.
Say hello to Rue, a little puppy overcoming big obstacles.
Come on, Rue.
Rue, short for kangaroo, was born without her 2 front legs, making it difficult for her to walk. So when the Steel Eagles robotics team at Holy Savior Menard Central High School in Louisiana heard about little Rue, they got to work.
Rue is a very small dog, and they don't make wheelchairs for dogs of that size, so we needed to step in.
At the time, she was only about a pound, and there were no commercially available chairs for dogs her size that were missing front legs.
Led by their coach Tanya Shepard, the Steel Eagles designed, built, and tested a wheelchair for Rue to help her get around.
Look at you.
We went to CAD and we used Fusion 360, the software, and we made a 3D model, and then we used our 3D printers that we have, and we printed them, and then Rue has visited us multiple times, and we fit it to her. And then Miss Nancy, one of our other mentors, she made her like little skirts, and they're very cute, and they fit with the harness perfectly.
And since Rue is growing fast, she's needed a few adjustments along the way.
Our biggest challenge is that since Rue is a baby, she is constantly growing. So every 2 or 3 weeks, we get to see Rue because Christy brings her in, and we check out how she's doing and what's fitting and what we need to change.
I like the challenge of having to redesign it because she keeps coming back, and she's a different size every time, so that's pretty fun.
Here you go.
Now that her wheelchair is the perfect fit, Rue is loving the ride.
She gets really excited whenever she realizes that she can just go.
The Steel Eagles robotics team will continue to make adjustments to Rue's wheelchair until she reaches her adult size. The team is also making plans to volunteer at Rue's old home, the Heart of Louisiana Humane Society, to help with their adoption events. And in the meantime, the students are enjoying their time with Rue, learning lessons that will last a lifetime.
The most important thing is that doing robotics fosters problem-solving skills in students. It's a continuous process of testing things, trying things out, coming up with solutions. And so it's a great way and a fun way for kids to learn skills that they're going to need in the workplace or in college, wherever they happen to go after school.
I'm just grateful that we had the opportunity to both learn things, help others, and just create an opportunity to teach others about stuff like this.
It feels amazing to me to know that I helped an animal like Rue. You can go out and help your community, and I really encourage people to go do that, because what you feel afterwards is amazing.
Allison, thanks so much for bringing us that story. Well, she's an Oscar-winning actress who you might recognize from movies like Freaky Friday or Beverly Hills Chihuahua. And guess what? Jamie Lee Curtis is also a best-selling author. Her latest children's book is called Just One More Sleep, and she's hoping it will teach you about something really important: patience. So use it in a sentence, just one more sleep. How would I?
So I would say just one more sleep, and it's your birthday tomorrow, and we're going to have a party. Because remember, these are books for young children. So these are books for, let's say, 3 to 8-year-olds. By 8, they know when it's their birthday. They know they can read time. They understand. But how many times do we say it to a child? No, just give me 1 minute. But they don't understand what 1 minute is. It's just noise saying you can't do something. So metabolizing time is a new idea for very young children, and saying just one more sleep or 2 more sleeps, it's now a modern way of talking to children about time.
We've got some children's questions for you.
By the way, your team and just the welcome here, it's really elaborate.
It's a beautiful book. Let's play the first group of questions.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mia. And I'm Mason. And we're from Chicago, Illinois. We have a couple questions for you. What inspired you to write the book One More Sleep? And are you the author and illustrator? We love Nightly News Kids Edition!
Oh, come on!
Awesome, right?
By the way, those are very well-dressed, well-behaved children. Well, you guys, here's my answer to your question. What inspired me was my neighbor, Betty. It was during COVID, when we were all masked and staying away from each other. First COVID Christmas, it was Christmas Eve, and I went out to get my mail, and I saw Betty and her mom from 10 feet away. We went, "Hi, Betty. Hi, Jamie." And I said, "It's Christmas Eve. Santa's on his way." And she looked at me and she went, "No, Jamie, no, 1 more sleep, then Santa." And in that second, I realized that's how young people metabolize time. And so I went inside and wrote the book that day after that interaction with Betty, because then I thought about all the things we are waiting for. And so that's how that happened. And what was the second question?
The question was about the illustrator.
I have a long time, 33-year partnership with a woman named Laura Cornell, who is the illustrator. She does all the paintings and drawings, and I write the words.
Would you mind reading a passage
from the book?
It would be very... I'd love to hear it in your voice.
So all the books are funny and have amusing ideas, but then I also think these books are intended to be read by adults to children. So there has to be an emotional resonance that makes you, the parent or grandparent in your case, want to read it over and over again to children. So I also remember going to school for the first time and how thrilling that was, the new start at school. This page says, just 1 more sleep, then I go back to school, meet my new teacher, her mohawk is cool. Science and music, 0 means none. Learning is really lessons in fun. Just 1 more sleep till I dress up and greet family and friends as we trick and we treat. A ghost and a cowboy, a clown with green hair. My witch's big nose will give them a scare. And then, this is where it gets emotional for me. Just 1 more sleep, and I'm grateful for living, safe in my home, here on Thanksgiving. I make turkey hands, I gobble pie fast. I'm thankful for family and all the years past. So there's some sense that what celebrations really are gatherings of human beings, little, old, older. There's a Hanukkah celebration behind me. There's an Easter celebration behind you.
The kind of things people look forward to.
But we do them together. And community, family, diversity are the building blocks of our country, our families, and very much the world we live in, the world you report. It's a real place. And I want these books to be real and emotional and funny, which is what life is.
So let's play some more questions.
I love that you've done this. Thank you so much.
Terrific.
What can I learn from this book?
Okay, well, what you can learn from the book is that waiting is universal. Everybody has to wait for something, and it's a little bit hard to wait, and it also can be fun to wait. So that waiting, this thing, the anticipation of something, doesn't have to be awful, but it's very real, and that grown-ups have to deal with it, and children can deal with it, and we can learn to do it together.
Jamie Lee Curtis, what a pleasure.
I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, time for our picture of the week. I want you to meet 8-year-old Ella Piazza. She was at the Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills football game on Sunday with her mom rooting on the Bills and also hoping to see megastar Taylor Swift. The little Swiftie even had a homemade sign reading Buffalo Bills plus Taylor Swift, best first game ever. Well, guess what? Ella's wish came true. Get this. While Kansas City Chiefs star Travis Kelce was playing in the game, his brother Jason was having a good time in the stands and noticed Ella. So Jason lifted up Ella with her homemade sign to show it to his brother's girlfriend, Taylor Swift, giving Ella the chance to see Taylor in person and up close. The moment, as they say, went viral, and Ella had this to say about all the excitement on the Today Show.
Jason went out of the suite, also got the girl next to us, and then came over here, and then he picked me up, and then I saw Taylor.
What was it like when you saw Taylor in real life?
It was like amazing.
Okay.
Ella, that's awesome. All right, finally, the recent snowstorms forced some school districts to close, giving kids the news they were hoping for, a snow day. Our friend Charlie Keegan has more from Kansas City, Missouri.
Here you go, good luck.
They love it. He's been saying it's hot.
The cold snow was no match for hundreds of children excited to be home from school. Don't even mention that 6-letter word.
No, we don't even think about me.
Lucy's dad enjoys snow days just as much as she does.
I haven't.
I mean, I'm a teacher, so it's kind of great. So I get off work too. So I'm just as excited as the kids are.
Lots of parents grab their boots.
You ready? Set.
And push their kids down the slope. Despite any crashes this snow day threw in their routine.
Actually, we love it. We have a whole snow day planned. We just got to keep them busy.
Busy but smiling, even if this day is more of a unicorn.
What happened to you?
So fun!
All right.
Wow, what fun. I want to do that. Well, that's going to do it for us parents. Just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, feel free to email a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com. You can also follow us on Instagram @NightlyKids. And just a program note, you can catch a new episode of Nightly News Kids Edition every Thursday on NBCnews.com and YouTube. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to take care of yourself and each other, and have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.